Welcome back to another episode of Warren Cali. In this episode, I'm going to detail the story of several tragic events in Oakland and in the Bay Area. Now, most are aware how deadly Oakland could be as a city and how deadly the streets get in the Bay, and Oakland to be exact. At a point, Oakland was known to have over 100 murders per year, but after 2012, the numbers dropped majorly, with 2018 having the lowest number in over 30 years, being 68 murders. But a lot changed by 2020's pandemic, and crimes were soaring in Oakland and all across America, with many cities reaching highs in murders, and ever since, Oakland has been reaching over 100 murders per year. And with that many murders, a lot of people will be innocent, and some will become victims. And that leads us to a story where a gun battle will happen between two warring gangs in November of 2021. Prosecutors would allege Ivory Bivens and another man named Trevor Green were riding along a highway in Oakland and ambushed another car with an AR-15. Both men are accused of following a car along the highway and opening fire and striking their rival and their intended target. His name was Johnny Jackson. He was a passenger in another car, and Johnny would shoot back but wouldn't hit anyone. The 1-year-old and his family will be driving on the same freeway around the same time. Jasper Wu and his family were driving home, and the car contained 3 adults and 2 other children. Jasper was asleep when the bullet flew through the windshield and struck him, taking his young life.
Tonight, police say a toddler has died after being shot by a stray bullet while riding in a car on 880 in Oakland. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight during Crowd 4 News at 8 o'clock as we kick off our primetime coverage. I'm Justine Waldman.
A horrific story to start this Saturday night. I'm Jonathan McCall. The child killed, according to the California Highway Patrol, was not targeted and was simply caught in the middle of a shootout on the highway. It all went down just after 2 o'clock this afternoon on I-880 by the 980 split. The busy highway reopening about 3 hours ago. The victim's family telling Cron 4 tonight they were headed home to Fremont from San Francisco when the shooting went down. CHP says there were 3 adults and 3 kids inside of the car at the time, including the victim, who the family has now identified as Jasper Wu, the little boy, not even 2 years old. Cron 4's Amanda Harry live for us tonight in Oakland at the scene where they took the little boy to the hospital, Oakland Benioff Children's Hospital. Amanda, just a heartbreaking story. What do you know?
You can see what the scene looked like on 880 earlier this afternoon. CHP says they received a call of a freeway shooting in Oakland. They had to shut down part of the highway for several hours during the investigation. CHP says the victims were traveling near southbound near Filbert Street when their vehicle was hit. The toddler was hit by a bullet and rushed to Oakland's Children's Hospital. The toddler died at the hospital. A family.
Ivory Bivens and Trevor Green are still fighting their cases.
3 suspects in the shooting of a toddler, Jasper Wu, in Oakland, will stand trial on murder charges. A defense attorney says Ivory Bivens and Trevor Green will stand trial. A judge ruled the 3rd defendant, Johnny Jackson Jr., fired back at the others in self-defense and will not face murder charges, according to his attorney. The shooting happened on Interstate 880 in Oakland in November 2021, killing the 23-month-old child. A court date still has not been set.
RIP to Jasper. Now, unfortunately, events like this will continue all over, and that takes us to 2023. A 1-year-old baby girl was shot in April 2023 when her and her parents were on their way home from a laundromat when they heard bullets hit their car. They were at the intersection of 11th Avenue and East 15th Street. Their 2 daughters were in the back seat, and the 1-year-old started crying. Her father didn't realize his daughter had been hit until they arrived home a few blocks away. They would quickly rush their daughter to an Oakland fire station where they would be held.
Shows us the toddler's father tried to shield his family when the bullets started flying, only to discover that his little girl had been hit.
The parents of little 15-month-old Maya are still in shock and hoping for a full recovery after the little girl was shot while riding home from a laundromat with her mother, father, and 5-year-old sister. He says the minute he heard gunshots, he leaned over to cover his wife and tried to cover his daughters, but they were already crying. It happened in Oakland at the intersection of 12th Avenue and East 15th Street on Monday. Maya's dad did not want his face shown on camera, but explains he didn't realize Maya had been hit until they got home. Surveillance video shows Maya's parents frantically racing her to a nearby fire station for help. I saw blood and wanted to get to the car as quickly as possible to get her help. We called 911, but didn't get a response, and at that point went to the fire station to get help because the bullet hit her side, he said. The little girl, who they say is known for her smile and dancing, is still sedated and recovering. She's already undergone 2 surgeries to repair internal organs damaged by the bullet, and doctors tell the family more surgeries may be needed.
The 1-year-old will undergo 2 surgeries to repair her internal organs damaged by the bullets, but she will live. Investigators said the surveillance video showed a man at the corner of 11th Avenue shooting at vehicles, adding that it was clear the family was not the intended target, but nobody has been caught in this case. And around the same time, in April 2023, a 5-year-old was riding with her family to dinner on April 8th, just before 7 p.m., where she would be shot in the chest and died. Her 7-year-old brother was sitting right next to her. Court documents say the suspects yelled out a gang and they shot into the vehicle that they believe belonged to a rival gang. Almost immediately after the shooting, the family found a CHP officer on the road, where they would rush the 5-year-old to the hospital, where she would later be pronounced dead.
Stay safe.
Today, 10 days after a 5-year-old girl was shot and killed while riding in a car on Interstate 880, investigators outlined what happened before the shooting and what led to the arrests of 3 men.
CHP and the district attorney detailed the shooting on the streets of Fremont that happened just before the freeway shooting.
Yeah, and they explained how the suspects were found just hours later in Santa Cruz. ABC 7 News reporter Zach Fuentes has the story.
5-year-old Eliana was riding with her family to dinner on Saturday night, April 8th, before 7 when she was shot in the chest and died. It happened on southbound 880 at Dixon Landing Road, her 7-year-old brother sitting right next to her. Court documents say the suspects yelled a gang slogan as they shot into the vehicle that they believe belonged to a rival gang. CHP says at this point they believe the family in that car were just innocent victims. Almost immediately after the shooting, the family found a CHP officer on the road.
They pulled over, grabbed their young daughter, and handed her to the CHP officer asking for help. He did everything he could to try to help her and requested medical services.
Last week, Humberto Anaya, Cristo Ayala Valderrama, and Emmanuel Sarango were arrested in connection with it. Investigators saying they believe all are Sureño gang members. Each is facing, including 1 count of murder, 6 counts of firing into an occupied vehicle, and 1 count of assault with a firearm following an earlier shooting in Fremont.
If convicted as currently charged, each defendant faces a minimum of 42 years to life.
The Fremont shooting happened less than a half hour before the freeway shooting. Fremont police say the victim was walking on Fremont Boulevard when one of the suspects commented on the victim's red clothing, which was the color of a rival gang. A suspect got out of the car and shot at the victim, who was not hit. Tuesday, Fremont police revealed that shooting gave them critical information that eventually led to an arrest in Santa Cruz 3 hours later, including footage from nearby cameras that identified the suspect vehicle and license plate.
3 men are still currently fighting this case. The last story occurred on July 14th, 2023. An 8-year-old boy was just picked up by his family from camp, and they were on their way to dinner when shots rang out on the freeway. California Highway Patrol said people in 2 cars were shooting at each other on the freeway, and the 8-year-old riding in the uninvolved car with his family was hit by the gunfire.
But on the night of July 14th, Asa was hit by a stray bullet on I-580 in Oakland as 2 cars shot at each other. Asa is now paralyzed from the neck down. 3 organizations that the family highlighted on their just-launched GoFundMe page. They also wrote about Asa. We're profoundly relieved that our boy is alive and very much himself. We're also starting to understand the vast implications of his new reality. Along with being paralyzed, Asa will need a medical respirator to live, feeding tubes to eat, and 24-hour nursing care. Costs for the first year alone will likely exceed $1 million.
This shooting will forever change his life. At only 8 years old, he will be paralyzed for the rest of his life. These were just 4 tragedies involving innocent kids that I detailed, but there's definitely more out there, and a lot of more innocent people getting caught in crossfires all the time. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.